Rehette, we're just going to start off with some questions to get to know you, so they're just quick 5 questions. The first one we're going to start off with is, what is your favourite food and who makes it?
Pizza, I make it myself.
And are you the main cook in your household?
I share it with my husband Dion.
Are you a night owl or an early bird?
Definitely not an early bird, night owl.
If you wrote a book, what would that book be about?
Time management, because I'm great at time management, so I can maybe share a few ideas.
Rugby or football?
I love rugby, but my boys play football, so I will have to say football.
Favourite genre of music?
I love classical music.
If you could wave a magic wand over Te Tairāwhiti, what would be the one thing you would fix?
Poverty.
Tell me why you are running again for mayor.
Hey, I've enjoyed the journey I have been on. The last 3 years have been such a privilege to be able to serve as our mayor. But what a ride it has been. We've navigated together through COVID. We have, I think in this term, I've declared emergencies more than 6 times. So as a community, we have had it tough in the last 3 years, but together we got through it. And as a council, we've achieved a lot. I'm really proud of what we have done, but there's so much more to do, and I'm ready to take that role on again.
Speaking about things that you're proud of, can you just mention stuff that you've done in the council that you are proud of?
So one thing that we should all be really proud of, but what the council led, was our welfare response in 2020 when COVID locked us all in our homes. We've forgotten everything we did, how we looked after each other. So as a council, we led that welfare response. We reached out to our iwi partners, to health, to police, and we coordinated to look after our community. We reached out via Project Manaki to make sure all our over 65s were looked after. We coordinated with police to make sure our community was safe. And then on top of that, part of that COVID response was also to advocate and reach out to the government and say, hey, there are so many people in our community whose jobs are now lost because under level 4, so many of us couldn't work. So I'm so proud of the $23 million we could get from the government to do the redeployment program, help some of our forestry workers into alternative employment, and then once we went into level 3, also get some of our young ones training, helping on the roads, helping with electricity, trees cut down. So I'm so proud of that achievement as well. And then as a council, we took it even further. We discussed how we can support our community through rates relief, and that's still ongoing. Even today, if you were really affected by COVID, you can come and talk to us, and we try to accommodate that. And on top of that, there were smaller things that we did, like, say, free parking for a year to try and get people back into our CBD.
Great to hear something that you're proud of. What would you say is something you yourself could improve on, but also the council could improve on if you were re-elected?
So to me, during COVID, we didn't have the opportunity to connect with our community like we like to do face to face. So going forward, what I would like to commit as mayor and our councillors is to make sure we reach out to our communities again, also to our schools, to our businesses. It's so important to chat to our businesses and see, are we making your life difficult or are we making your life easier? We need to reach out to our older population. In Tairāwhiti, we will see an older population going forward. Are our footpaths fit for purpose? Do we need to make sure our walk and cycleways are more connected? So what I want to commit to is making sure as mayor and as council, we establish those community links again, because in the last 3 years, COVID stopped us from doing that.
What would you say is the most important issue that's personal to you in our community?
So in our community, there are so many issues that come together. The biggest issue for us as a council is that there are never enough money to do what we want to do. Because people sometimes forget, we are also ratepayers. We all the council staff, the mayor, the councillors, we live in this community. We're part of the neighbourhoods, and we also want the best for our community. So for me, going forward, it is how we can work smart with the little bit of money that we have. And on top of that, where I want to advocate more and more to central government on behalf of our community. We need to look at the funding models. Most funding models is around population base. So for Gisborne, it never works because we're a small population living in a huge, stretched out area. So for me, it's taking that message to government saying, we understand that you have certain funding models. It doesn't work for our place.
What do you think could be a solution to that?
It will be advocacy, advocacy, advocacy. And on top of that, local government is facing so many reforms. I've been part of those reforms. I've been lobbying central government in regards to Three Waters, which we know is not fit for purpose for our region. So for me, that experience that I bring from the last 3 years working in different sectors as well. I'm part of regional sector, I'm part of Entity C, and we work with our Hawke's Bay neighbours, our direct relationships with our ministers as well. That's what I can bring to the table to make sure going forward we can build on those relationships and bring as much investment into our region.
What does ultimate Te Tairāwhiti look like to you?
To me, ultimate Te Tairāwhiti is a clean environment where we don't have sewage going into our rivers, going into our ocean, where we have fit-for-purpose housing for our people, where people don't live in cars, where we have the infrastructure to support that housing, where we can say to our young ones after they left for their OE, hey, come on home, because we have jobs here, we have sustainable jobs. I'll be proud when we have a Tairāwhiti where we look after our environment effortlessly, because that's just how we operate. So we have our work cut out for us, but we're moving in the right direction.
Can you give me a little bit of examples of how we're moving in that next direction?
Yes. So I can talk a little bit about what we're doing in the climate change space. So going forward, that is going to be one of our major challenges. We talk about our roading issues, and that's massive for us. But a contributor to that roading situation we find ourselves in is climate change. We can see it in the last few terms, how many times we have seen flooding in the same spaces, in the same neighbourhoods, roads that are now dangerous to travel. So for me, the work that council are doing is we're looking at council as an organisation, but also as the regional leaders, we are looking at all organisations as a region. So for us, we're doing our emissions calculations. As a council, we know our biggest emissions are caused by waste. So that will be our landfills and the rubbish we collect. For a region, it is emissions from agriculture, so there will be different approaches. Our next step in which we've worked on is a roadmap on how we can become zero carbon by 2030. So we're right in the middle. We've recently made announcements on that. Taking from there, we need to make sure we take our community on this journey. It's not a council journey, it's a Tairāwhiti journey. So what we will be doing is talking to our community on how we decarbonise, how we also look at our land use. What do we plant? What do we use for agriculture? What do we allocate to housing? How do we make sure our infrastructure is smart? So as a council, we also have looked at investing $23 million in reviewing our plans, our Tairāwhiti Resource Management Plan. So I'm excited that we're looking in the first tranche at housing. We need to look at smart housing. Is it time for us to allow higher densities? How do we empower papakainga? So we are already there. We are looking at our transport. How do we make sure we take more people off roads, not only decarbonise, but also have a healthier community and a connected community? So there are lots of little steps which we are taking in order for us to get to that vision.
Anything that you would want the community to know, or you feel that you want to share?
Yes, so I want to say to our community, we have so much potential here. As a council, we want to work for you. Like I said, we need to again touch base with our community, and after COVID, when we were not allowed, didn't have the normal flow of communication, to say, hey, we work for you. What do you want us to do?